Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Hey, what's up, guys? How are you doing? How's it going? All of those things. Oh, my goodness. It's Friday. It's Friday. Today we have a little bit of a show. Got some things happening out in the world. We are going to talk about the Kiwi Farms response to Russell Greer. I have the documents for that. We're going to talk about Twitter's problems with cheese pizza. Cheese pizza is a problem on Twitter, and Twitter seems to be fine with it. You may remember that Twitter has been sued over not removing cheese pizza even after it was identified by the victim. You may remember that lawsuit. Well, another victim has come forward and joined it. So that's going to be talked about. We've got Ken Paxton being sued as well. So this is an interesting lawsuit. It's by the same people who sued Trump over blocking, random whiny little turd bags on Twitter. They're now suing over Ken Paxton blocking whiny little turd bags on Twitter, despite the fact that that Clarence Thomas has made it pretty clear, at least in his opinion, that this is not a valid theory, a valid legal theory. So we have to figure out how quickly this thing can get to the Supreme Court. And I have some thoughts about maybe some strategies that Ken should do. But that's that. Oh, man. So that's what's going on today. No, I did not watch any of the Chauvin trial today. I would have loved to, but I was not able to. I'm going to try and catch up on some of it this weekend so I can do maybe some breakdowns of what's been going on with some of the exam and cross-exam. There's been some very good lawyering happening on both sides, some really good witnesses for the prosecution. Of course, the defense will need to bring their own witnesses on their case in chief. Right now it's the prosecution's case in chief. They ask their questions. The defense gets to cross-examine those witnesses, and then the prosecution gets redirect, and the defense gets to ask any last questions that they want. And then that's that. Once the prosecution rests their case, then the defense will start their case in chief, in which they get to call witnesses and ask them questions. And the whole questioning thing flips. That's when the prosecution will get to ask leading questions because of cross-examination and stuff like that. So that's all coming up. But yeah, I will be trying to catch up on the trial over this weekend as I have some time, and hopefully get some videos put together on that. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Oh, the founder of Black Lives Matter just bought herself a cozy little $1.5 million house in LA, which, if you don't know, like a $1.5 million house in LA is like a $200,000 house anywhere else on the planet. But still, she went ahead and did that. No idea where she got the money. Certainly not with funds from no, that wouldn't be a thing. Okay. It's a predominantly white neighborhood, so that's also funny. We'll take a peek at the house. There's articles about it. We'll take a peek at the house. That's coming up. What else is there? There's some other stuff going on. Nike has settled its lawsuit against Lil Nas X and that weird company that was remaking Nike shoes. It was a kind of a confusing copyright claim. Nike won their preliminary injunction on it, but you know, it was a little bit strange because like these are things that people were buying and then creating something more. So it was kind of a strange trademark case, and Nike was up on top of it, and now they have settled it. So we won't get anything more clear on that case. Because, and Amaranthus says that was a quick settlement. It was. And the reason it's probably a quick settlement is because Nike knows that they were given a gift with that early win and that it would be very unlikely. Well, I shouldn't say unlikely, but it was questionable whether that win would hold up if they took it through the court process. So you get the win, you demand a recall or whatever. That's what they did. They settled on a voluntary recall and a prevention of the sale of the last pair. And then they've got the headline win, and that's really what they wanted. I mean, how many people are going to voluntarily recall those shoes that are now like super famous collector items? Probably none of them. Probably none. But the Jesus shoes were also part of the recall settlement, according to the news on it. So, you know, they settled it, but Nike was not wanting to have that victory that they got tested in court. That would not go ahead. That would probably not end up well for them. They would probably ultimately lose on the merits. They would end up potentially owing lots of money and fees, and they would have that public loss rather than a public victory. So they were able to get out. They were able to get out of this one with a nice win on the PR side. So that was good. Oh, if you don't know this, YouTube is basically completely batshit insane on censoring anybody who's to the right of Mao right now. That's just how it goes. These things happen in waves, and a big wave of it is happening right now. My man Q just got his second channel strike today, and get this, it was on a video that wasn't even public yet. It wasn't even public. He had uploaded it. It was unlisted. He asked for review for monetization, and they struck his channel for a video that wasn't even published yet. So, and this, of course, following in the wake of Doug TenNapel being removed. His two channels were removed. He has a third channel, his art channel, which he is doing uploads on now. But, you know, it's probably a matter of time before that one gets hit as well. YouTube is not taking any prisoners on this. Oh, and by the way, I can't say exactly what Q said, but you know how a certain government entity compared a certain pandemic to not even a certain. Okay, so a certain government entity that deals with diseases, will say, called racism a disease. Q did a video on that, and was struck for somehow giving misleading information about government advice on health. But he wasn't talking about health. He wasn't talking about a particular ailment that is in the news right now, which I'm not going to talk about at all. He wasn't talking about that at all. Nope. Nope. Literally, it was a joke about racism being called uh, a communicable illness. So, Several says, "Who is Q? Q is my friend. Q is his nickname. Has been for a lot longer than the other Q, but it's Out of the Darkness on YouTube. Out of the Darkness. So, as for the rest of us, what we're seeing are Twitter is in a purge of subscriber mode. They're purging the subscribers from the channels. It happens. It's a specific time every day, and anybody who has mild anti SJW or right leaning at all perspectives, like I hope you guys understand. I am far from what you would call right wing. Like I don't pass the test. Like I'm every no true Scotsman fallacy because I hold some gay centrist views. I just do. I'm not going to ever lie or misrepresent that. And I am me. I am far from what you would consider alt-right, but it happens to me a lot. It happens to guys like Yellow Flash, that umbrella guy, who don't really talk politics at all, but they talk about, YouTube, sorry, YouTube. Guys who don't really talk about politics at all, but who talk about stuff that involves sort of the social justice crybabies. We're all getting hit every night right now. That's YouTube's thing. Sorry, I said Twitter. We're all getting hit, and they purge a good chunk of subscribers every single night right now. They do this in waves. The waves go on for a couple weeks, and then they'll stop. You guys probably don't see it because you see my channel say 161,000, whereas I see the exact number, and I see the exact number kick up and then poof, drop like 50 or 150 or 200, whatever it may be on a particular day. And then that typically is not enough to kick it down to 160,000, right? It just stays at 161 on the public view. So that's what's going on. Sononame, yes, Sononame says other live streams had likes disappear live. I did the other night. I did the 1,000 like shot, and then suddenly we were below 1,000 likes, and it went over 1,000 likes, and I had to take another one. So, everybody out there, be cautious on what you're posting and doing, but most importantly, check your subscriptions. Make sure the people that you watch, you stay subscribed to. For me, what I recommend, the best thing to do on my stuff is go to my locals page, recaidalaw.locals.com. Go there. It's free, and you will always, always, always have a link to the live stream or a notification that there is no live stream. You will always get that from locals. There's no like limits on notifications or whatever. Every time I post, you'll get a notification on your locals app. And if you have push notifications on your phone, it'll go to you automatically, and you will get a notification about every live stream. If you want to subscribe, that's something completely separate. I of course want you to subscribe, but I'm talking just the notification stuff. That is free, 100%. You will never be charged for a notification for a live stream. If you subscribe, you get access to early access to videos, and you get access to the community, where locals is kind of cool because you can actually talk. You don't have to rely on my content alone on the page. It's actually kind of like a closed Facebook group. So you can go there, you can say whatever you want on any subject. There's no censorship. You can say all the gamer words you feel like saying. If you just need to get a bunch of F slurs off your chest, they won't stop you, and they won't kick you off. And that's just how it is. So that being said, I recommend people go to locals. Go there and just hit the follow button for the free thing, so you never miss any notifications. That's my main suggestion. All right. Mr. K says, can you ask your locals people if they can add an option to pay with PayPal? I mean, I can ask them. Right now, I think the only way to do it would be to get like the PayPal debit card and then to use Stripe that way. But that's unfortunately, I don't know that they have the ability to integrate that. Plus, if they do that, then they might be subject to PayPal. But yeah. So anyway, Old Terrico says, can you post naughty content in there like fan art? You can post fan art, but they do have a no pornography policy on locals. And from what I understand, that's because basically any site that has anything even close to pornography on it is getting hit pretty hard with threats of lawsuits for underage stuff and all of that junk. Even if that's not present, they're getting threatened with it. So with that said, with locals, if you subscribe on locals, you also get access to the Discord, and you can post all the NSFW stuff you want in the Discord. So, that stuff is all available in on the Discord channel. Do they allow guns? Yes. Yes, you can do that in the Discord channel. So it's a private Discord. It has been operating now for over 2 years, I believe. And, it's a fun little community. Yes. And it's not safe for people. That is the channel in my Discord. So I would recommend checking that out. Again, that's all benefits from the locals stuff. I really need to do like a locals trailer video to put up on the page so people know what they're getting into. But that's there. So it's that's my recommendation on this stuff. I wish it didn't come to that. Like, I wish it would just work through YouTube and make everything convenient for everybody. But as we've seen time and time again, they're not allowing it. YouTube is not allowing us to just be, not allowing us to express opinions, not allowing people to build platforms in the way that we were able to before. And, they're suppressing things. So with that said, that's what's going on right now. That's my little pitch for locals. Locals is also building a whole bunch of stuff, and it looks like it'll be a really cool platform as it keeps growing. But for now, that's where we're at. As for the other alternative platform, Odyssey, all my short videos are mirrored on Odyssey. I don't know if my long videos have been mirrored over there yet, but I think that's in progress. That being said, Odyssey is being sued by the SEC over their Libri coin. And that is not good. It's not good that they're being sued because it's completely bogus to have a lawsuit over their coin. But I am going to be covering that lawsuit soon, and I am trying to arrange an interview with the with some we'll put it this way, with some high up people at Odyssey. I would love to do that. That content may be exclusive to Odyssey, I'm not sure, but once it's fully allowed for me, I'll be implementing live streaming over at Odyssey. So that's on the docket, so to speak. Looks like some of my streams are going up on the Ricada Law Live channel. I'm not sure exactly how to find them, but it is happening. So, also my Ricada Media channel is mirrored over there. But anyway, so for those people who are waiting to see something about the Odyssey lawsuit, that is in the works. That is in the works. Okay. Is that all of the stupid housekeeping, anti-censorship stuff we need to talk about just to start today? I think so. I was finally able to get some videos recorded today. I did 2 videos, one on the Clarence Thomas decision. I thought that was pretty good. That was a good video. And then one on Biden being an idiot about the First and Second Amendments and talking about taking your guns. Just so you guys know, I did look it up. The first federal enforcement of any sort of gun restriction was not until 1936, I believe. So Joe Biden saying there were gun restrictions from the very beginning, from the very adoption of the Second Amendment, is absolutely wrong because he's completely stupid. He's just fucking dumb. There's no other way to say it. There's no, look, if you like him, that's fine. I doubt there's many of you out there. You know, you can even be a happy Democrat, liberal, leftist, or whatever, and watch this channel or whatever. But you can like Joe Biden, but he's a fucking moron, and I'm getting really tired of it. Because his shit today was completely bonkers. There's just no way around it. Flat out lying about the history of gun control in this country. You're welcome, Gerard Garvin. I am a giver. So, yeah. That guy's pissing me off. Okay. So, all right. Where do I have these? Oh yeah. Let's get started on this Russell Greer versus the Kiwi Farms lawsuit. Where are we going to put this? That's what she said. There we go. That's one good place. All right. And this one as well. We have 2 documents here. We have 2 documents. We've got a couple chats that I need to talk about. Oh, yeah. The court expansion. There's a president or an executive panel on expanding the Supreme Court. Of course there is. Remember? Because they said there wouldn't be. So of course there is. Of course there has to be. When they say, oh yeah, not really interested in expanding the Supreme Court. Of course they're interested in expanding the Supreme Court. Because the guy's a fucking liar. I don't. Okay, let me, there was a super chat before the show. There's also a justice chat that I missed from several shows ago. Just 2, I think, just 2 shows ago. Butt Worlds Man says, reminder to all the Shekel chatters that if you want an automatic win against Nikki, challenge him to a drinking contest. You too can do your part and add a big L to the whiskey drinking lawyer's reputation. R.I.P. Kurt's liver. He can still kick your ass. Jeez. Rude. Rude of him to do that. Okay, next. Here we go. Let's see. Where is the early super chat? Michael Mravitz says, thank you for answering my Twitter question. Oh, you're welcome. Which one was it? I don't know what that was. Was it the one about the DUI in Minnesota? I don't know if that's what that was about, but someone asked me if everyone who kills someone in a drunk driving accident in Minnesota is charged and convicted of felony murder. No. No is the answer. In case you guys are curious about this, in Minnesota, most DUIs are actually misdemeanors or gross misdemeanors. It takes a lot to get a felony DUI. Usually you have to have a couple. So it makes it hard for it to be felony murder for you to get when it's not a felony, right? That's the first problem. The other thing is we have a criminal vehicular homicide statute, and it specifically addresses people who die during a DUI. And so they're typically charged under that statute. So just in to answer that question as to how that works. Gerard Garvin, yeah, usually you have to have a couple DUIs. So in Minnesota, if you just have a DUI, like you're just going around driving, you got a .09, right? So you're just above that .8, nothing else going on, then you get a DUI. It's 4th degree. It's a misdemeanor. If you have someone under 16 in the car with you and you get that DUI, you get an aggravating factor. With an aggravating factor, it goes up to 3rd degree and it becomes a gross misdemeanor. If you have a .16 and a kid in the car, then you get 2 aggravating factors and it goes up to 2nd degree. If you have a prior DUI within, like, I think it's either 5 or 10 years, that would be an extra aggravating factor. So once you get up to 3 aggravating factors, which can be either multiple DUIs or being at a .16 or having a kid in the car, then you get up to 1st degree DUI, which is a felony. If you were convicted of criminal vehicular homicide already and you're on probation and then you have a DUI, guess what? That's a felony also. So it takes some aggravating factors to get up to a felony in Minnesota. So that's what I meant by you need to have a couple. Yeah, he says, I mean like a couple as in a couple of drinks. Yeah, to get to a felony, you need more than a couple drinks. You need a couple drinks and some other bad stuff. Lamacaw says, what if you are the kid in the car? That's actually a good question, because it's a really weird thing. If you have a kid under 16 in the car, right, that's an aggravating factor, unless that kid under 16 is within 36 months of your age. So if you're 18 and you're driving around with a bunch of drunk 16-year-olds, you actually don't get an aggravating factor on that. So good job for you. You avoided one. It's a weird law to me, but they didn't want to punish a bunch of kids driving around doing DUIs. I don't know why, but they just didn't want to punish them as much as they would for an adult. So for whatever reason, that's what they chose. It's a strange piece of Minnesota statute. So there you go. Whew. All right. Okay. Let's hit a couple more of these chats. The Zanman says, ladies and gentlemen, I am Nick Ricada and I need to get something off my chest. I've been lying to you. The truth is, the single best donut is a plain cake donut. Maybe one with sugar if I'm feeling naughty. A woo. It's very cruel to do that to me. Frederick Little says, hey, Nick, hope you're doing well. Here's $20 for you. Hey, thanks. Also, rest in peace to DMX and Prince Philip. Yeah, DMX apparently overdosed. I think Chauvin was there, and he is dead now. So X gonna give it to you, Jesus, or whatever, as he goes to heaven, sweet Prince DMX. Which is nice, I guess, because now he doesn't have to worry about the tax problems that he was having. I actually like DMX just fine. But he did. He had his. I guess they said it was an overdose a couple days ago, and then he was like brain dead in the hospital, and now he's actual dead. That was 50 Cent. No, DMX. DMX also had tax problems. I did a video on it. He just didn't report his income for like 5 years, and he was getting paid in cash. Like in literal duffel bags at concerts. He'd be walking out of the concert with like $35,000. Hilarious. And then so he'd take half of his payment in a duffel bag at the show, and then he'd have his managers would get the other half of the payment and funnel it to him through payment apps. I'm not even kidding. He didn't pay taxes for several years, just didn't report it at all. He's like, "Oh yeah, I made $0." They're like, "You did 9 concerts last year." Like, "Nah, it's cool." But yeah. So that's how hard he wanted to avoid his tax issues. He decided to just die. Yeah, and also Prince Philip is dead. I don't know why he died. I don't know if he had tax problems. Bad Vibe says, "Oh, yeah." I was telling Lady Rackets, I'm like, "Oh, that old Prince died." And she's like, "Really?" And I don't know anything about these people, but I think I said William or whatever, Charles. I didn't say Philip. I said the other one. The one who used to be married to Diana. And then that's the name I said. I wasn't thinking of that one. And so then I was like, yeah, that one died. And I was like, it was the old one. He said, someone said he'd been married to his wife for like 60 years or whatever. And she's like, "Well, then it wasn't the one who was married to Diana." And I was like, "Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because the last thing she married was the Radiator." So that's my sense of humor. I don't know. Bad Vibe says, "Phone rings. Nick, Domino's, Twitter, can we have a cheese pizza?" Nick, no, but you can have lead poisoning. Yeah. Yeah. Bryce Johnson says, "Big tech, if you don't like this water fountain, you can build your own." Oh, wait. Yes. Yes. That's the miracle of big tech is big tech has been given every single possible avenue to completely succeed and make billions of dollars, and they do not have any of the restrictions that anybody else has. Here's the crazy thing. If Twitter started banning all the black people, hypothetically, right? Would you even know? Would you even know? Like, let's just say they kept the black celebrities on there. But they had demographics, their AI could detect who is a black Twitter user, and they just started banning people from black Twitter. And then they just started suppressing through algorithmically, any sort of notion from black people, like any mentions of it got suppressed and delinked. You wouldn't know. Twitter could do this to anybody, any race, any religion, any national origin. They could do it. They could do things that are absolutely illegal for any other business in America. And you wouldn't know unless you really dug into it. But the vast majority of Twitter, if Twitter doesn't want you to know, you wouldn't know. The only time we know that people get banned is if they're big enough to be missed. That's the crazy thing about Twitter. Whereas if you ban an Asian from a grocery store because they're Asian, we'd find out about it pretty quick. That grocery store would be facing a lawsuit. With Twitter, how would you prove that other black people got banned? Most people just think they got banned because Twitter banned them. This is the problem with how social media is operating. There's no check because once someone is gone, you don't get to know why. They don't make an announcement. There's not a log somewhere where we can have a public register of all of the refusals of service that they do. And they can suppress the spread of information about that refusal of service. And the only thing they have to do is keep the big enough voices on there. This is a problem. This is a really big problem. It's what Thomas is talking about. I mean, he wasn't talking about it in these specific ways, but it's the issue of by the way, conservacucks, I'm going to call them out, sitting here saying, well, Twitter's a private company. They can do whatever they want. No, they can't. No, they can't. Because no business can do whatever they want. And we don't live in a libertarian paradise. In a principle, in a utopia, I'm with you 100%. 100%, I'm with you. I say all of the free companies can freely do whatever they want. But we don't live there. We haven't lived there for a very, very long time. But we got a lot of Republican utopians running around. Some big questions going on here. Big questions. And I'm getting tired of hearing Republicans apologizing for this type of stuff. Well, there's nothing we can do. Actually, there's a ton we can do. In fact, they do it to me. My law firm. Can I turn away white people from my law firm? No. Not because they're white. Nope. What about Mexicans? What about Asians? What about black people? Nope, I cannot pick a race and turn them away. Can't do it. It'd be against the law. Your business can't do it either. Yet, Twitter can. In the eyes of these Republicans, Twitter can. Well, it's a private company. They can just do whatever they want. Since when? Since when have we let a private company do whatever they want? Anybody who has any experience in any business, ask a barber if they can do whatever they want. Like the list of things that a barber has to go through, or a tattoo artist, or a massage therapist. Like these small businesses that you see everywhere go through thousands and thousands of dollars of compliance. Put a sign up on your building and tell me you're a private business. You can do whatever you want. That was so funny when I opened my law office. I'm like, I'm putting a sign up outside, and the building manager's like, "What'd you get? You get a pass from the city? Like, what the fuck do I need a pass from the city for? I'm renting the space. I can put a big stupid sign up." Like, "Oh no, you got to get a permit from the city to put up a sign." What the hell for? Isn't it your property? He's like, "Yeah, but I can't put signs up without their permission." What? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? What kind of tyranny is this? Yet, here we are. Well, social media can do whatever they want. These people ever go outside? It's amazing. It's amazing. The disconnect. Every single business has restrictions put on it. Tons of them. And we all just say, well, that's just how you got to do business. Well, the health inspector has to make sure you're not trying to murder your clients at your sandwich shop. Oh, yeah, that would be great for business. That's what I'm going to do. What I do is I put on the mayonnaise and then I sprinkle a little arsenic on there just so they die once they leave the shop. I don't want to give them too much. I don't want them to die inside. That would stink up the place. I want a pile of bodies on the outside. That's good advertising. So you got to have a health inspector come in and make sure you're using up to code commercial equipment to make a sandwich. I'm so fucking mad about this stuff. I'm done. So anyway, well, I mean, how could we dare ask social media to serve everybody who comes to it? I don't know. You ask that of every business that exists. Just all of them, though. I'm drinking. So Lady Rackets and I just started watching The Witcher. First episode's pretty good. Pretty good. My man Geralt shoved a sword through someone's face and then went and split his head in half. That was awesome. Okay. Sorry, that was spurred by that super chat. Thank you to Bryce Johnson for doing that. Mithrin Emmer says, sorry, Nick, but I'm going to have to go with Grampy Joe since he was there when they were writing those amendments. Then again, he can't seem to remember he is president, so... Austin Heartless says, my name is Nick Ricada, and I am a fart streamer. Okay. Mofo Q, I didn't cancel Netflix because I have never paid for Netflix in my life. Phoenix Orm says, hey, Nick, on censorship, please bring Mike Boudet on the show. I sent him a message. I'm waiting for a response. He was kicked off cast because some idiot's fifis were hurt. Mike's one of the few who doesn't blur lines when it comes to facts and says it as it is. Godspeed. I love Mike. He's great. Had him on the show before. Have him on again anytime. Have him on anytime. So I dropped him a message the other day. I'll follow up again. I don't want to bother the man, but I'd love to have him back on the show. He's awesome. Lord Crocosquirrel. No, we're right about to get to it. NW Backcountry says, can we sue the government over censoring our comments and dislikes on the White House official YouTube channel? They're violating my First Amendment rights. I mean, they sure seem to be. Synac 8 says, Fed, tax evasion is a crime. DMX, it's an obligation. Okay. And Super Iron Bob says, bake the gay tweet, bigot. Oh, my God. Okay. Let's, oh, it's off center. I'll fix it. Here we go. Here we are. So, I mentioned that Kiwi Farms, the entity Kiwi Farms, Joshua Moon as well, have answered Russell Greer with Russell Greer's nightmare. Gregory Skordas. Yeah, it seems that Josh has hired the Utah Terror, Greg Skordas, to go ahead and fight against Russell Greer. Which is, of course, what you should do. Everybody should do this. So here we go. This is a 12B6 motion to dismiss all claims because Russell has sued Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms. And there is also an opposition to the preliminary injunction. So we're going to read this motion to dismiss. We'll read the opposition to the to the preliminary injunction. Who is Skordas? Skordas is the guy who represented Taylor Swift in Russell Greer's first lawsuit against Taylor Swift. He is the man. He is the man who faced down Russell Greer in court when Russell thought that Taylor Swift was going to fly to Utah to attend the hearing. So he goes in there just ready, he will go in. He was in that courtroom just ready to furiously beat off at the sight of Taylor Swift. And what he got instead was beautiful Greg Skordas, the vicious lawyer, the monster, the master of mayhem, the litigator of litigators, the lion of litigation. He was there to defend the fair maiden, Taylor Swift. So anyway, that's Russell Greer hates him. I think Skordas may hate Russell Greer because I'm pretty sure Russell said something about Skordas's daughter. That's unconfirmed but I'm pretty sure that is confirmed. Also, I believe that Skordas is the guy that Russell Greer offered a settlement to if Skordas would agree to allow Russell Greer to have not a date, but definitely dinner and probably sex with Taylor Swift. Uncivil wants to have another drink off. Fight him, bro. I'll say the same thing as last time. Sure, you're going to win, though. All right. So here we go. Delacorte, I liked Cummins better. Defendants Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms by and through their counsel of record, Gregory Skordas, hereby move this court to dismiss all the claims against them pursuant to Rule 12b6 of Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Defendants base this motion on the following. Relevant facts. Joshua Moon is the owner of Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms is a website composed of various forums where people across the world can create an account and post their opinions on various topics. Some of Kiwi Farms' account holders have entered into discussions about plaintiff. Kiwi Farms has never instructed any account holder to personally contact plaintiff. In fact, Kiwi Farms has expressly discouraged any account holder from doing so. Kiwi Farms did not induce or instruct any of the account holders to display any portion of plaintiff's published books or music. Plaintiff has known about his image and conduct being discussed on Kiwi Farms since late 2016 or early 2017. And we know this because he wrote a book about it. Argument. To grant a 12b6 motion, the defendant must show that the plaintiff has failed to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. When determining whether to grant the motion, the court presumes all of plaintiff's factual allegations are true and construes them in the light most favorable to the plaintiff. When the plaintiff is a pro se litigant, the court must construe the pleadings liberally and hold them to a less stringent standard. However, this less stringent standard does not relieve the plaintiff of the burden of alleging sufficient facts on which a recognized legal claim could be based. These facts must be enough to raise a right to relief above the speculative level. The court's function on Rule 12b6 motions is to assess whether the plaintiff's complaint alone is legally sufficient to state a claim for which relief may be granted. So a 12b6 motion is, you're going to see this in basically any civil action in federal court because it is how you automatically win. If you win a 12b6 motion, lawsuit over, typically with prejudice, game over, man. Game over. It's over. Done. You win. Victory. So you always pretty much do a 12b6 motion. You allege that their complaint is insufficient. It's almost a pro forma motion. You just do it. You just do it. So, Superstitious Oblivious B says, play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt much better than the Netflix series. Well, okay. Uncivil Law, are you gonna sit there in the comments and say that you didn't turn off your camera and go quietly vomit a little bit before coming back? Are we going with that story? You are under oath, counselor. Okay. Plaintiff's defamation and false light claims are barred by the statute of limitations. Defamation and false light claims have a 1-year statute of limitations. Under Utah code, the statutes of limitations for defamation claims is 1 year. Statute of limitations begins to run on the date the statement is published and the publication is known or reasonably discoverable. Statements posted on the internet are considered an aggregate publication. In Utah, as a matter of law, a statement in an aggregate publication is known or reasonably discoverable when it is initially published and widely disseminated to the public. In an aggregate publication, the court applies the single publication rule. Under the single publication rule, for any statement made through mass publication, a plaintiff has a single cause of action. In his complaint, plaintiff admits he knew of the alleged defamatory language on Kiwi Farms as early as late 2016. By the summer of 2017, plaintiff had been told by others of the alleged defamatory language on Kiwi Farms. Plaintiff's complaint was received by the court on September 16, 2020, and filed on September 24, 2020. Therefore, any alleged defamatory statements or alleged false light statements made before September 24th are barred from the court's consideration. Plaintiff tries to skirt the statute of limitations by asserting he is only bringing in alleged defamatory and false light statements that were brought in 2020. But the only statement he specifically lists under his defamation claim is a statement found on Goodreads by a Richard Springer. Plaintiff includes the review as an exhibit, but fails to include the date of the review. This review was published on Goodreads on March 3rd, 2019, more than 6 months before the September 24th, 2019 deadline. Not only is this statement barred under the statute of limitations, but this statement also has nothing to do with defendants or their online forums. Because plaintiff's defamation and false light claims are barred by the statute of limitations, plaintiff has failed to state a claim upon which relief can be granted, and his claims should be dismissed. Very, very straightforward. Done. Defendants qualify for immunity under the Communications Decency Act. In order to qualify for immunity under the CDA, now let me take a pause for a minute here. Russell Greer brought this case in Utah. Utah likely doesn't have personal jurisdiction over Josh or Kiwi Farms. But they're not alleging that. They're not fighting that. And I can only speculate as to the reasons they're not fighting that. But I think what they're doing is basically allowing the court to have jurisdiction over this so they can get a full dismissal with prejudice. That's the idea here. But there shouldn't be any jurisdiction over Joshua Moon. He is not a Utah resident. Kiwi Farms does not have an office in Utah, is not based in Utah. I don't see anything there. So they could have done that, but a dismissal on jurisdictional grounds is a dismissal without prejudice. So Russell Greer could simply refile in a different jurisdiction, like perhaps Florida, and it could be very, very cumbersome and confusing and be a big mess that Josh would have to fight. So it looks like he just wants to stamp it out now. All right. So, in order to qualify for immunity under the CDA, a defendant must show that it is an interactive computer service. Its actions as a publisher or speaker form the basis for liability, and another information content provider provided the information that forms the basis for liability. An interactive computer service is defined as any information service that enables computer access by multiple users to a computer server. Kiwi Farms is an interactive computer service in that it allows access of multiple users to post and interact on a computer server. Plaintiff asserts that defendants have published defamatory and false light statements about plaintiff on his website, yet fails to provide any specific defamatory and false light statements that defendants themselves published. All of the alleged defamatory and false light statements that plaintiff specifically mentions in his complaint were clearly provided by another information content provider or user of Kiwi Farms. Because Kiwi Farms qualifies for immunity under the CDA, the court cannot grant plaintiff any relief under his defamation or false light claims. Therefore, plaintiff's claims should be dismissed. Very straightforward again. Scortis is not wasting any time or paper on this. Defendants did not intentionally induce or encourage direct infringement of plaintiff's work. To be liable for contributory copyright infringement, the defendant must have caused or materially contributed to another's infringing activities and knew of the infringement. In other words, one infringes contributorily by intentionally inducing or encouraging direct infringement. In Martin, the court found that the contributory infringement claim failed because the plaintiff did not allege defendant intended to induce or encourage infringement at the time of the transaction. In our case, plaintiff has not alleged defendants intended to induce or encourage infringement at the time of the transaction. Plaintiff has not alleged any facts that support an inference that defendants induced or encouraged any users of Kiwi Farms to infringe on plaintiff's copyright material before the material was posted online. Because plaintiff has failed to show defendants intended to induce or encourage copyright infringement at the time plaintiff's book and songs were published on Kiwi Farms, plaintiff has failed to state a prima facie case for contributory copyright infringement. Therefore, plaintiff has failed to state a claim upon which relief can be granted, and his contributory copyright infringement claim should be dismissed. Utah Code 76-9-201 does not authorize a civil cause of action. In his complaint, plaintiff asserts that Utah Code 76-9-201 allows for a civil cause of action. This is a clear misstatement of Utah law. Russell. In fact, there is no express language in the statute authorizing civil claims. The statute merely creates an implied right to sue, Nunes versus Rushton. The courts have declared that the statutory language in 76-9-201 fails to meet the high bar for creating an implied cause of action. The plain language of the statute confirms only that a criminal prosecution does not prevent the victim from bringing an existing civil claim. In fact, Utah Code 76-9-201 does not authorize a private cause of action. A claim for electronic communication harassment under the statute fails as a matter of law. Whoops. Therefore, plaintiff's claim for electronic communications harassment fails as a matter of law, and this claim should be dismissed. Ouch. Ouch. Defendants did not publicize a matter that created a false impression of plaintiff. A prima facie case for false light requires a plaintiff to demonstrate that the defendant, 1, publicized a matter concerning the plaintiff that placed the plaintiff before the public in a false light, 2, the false light would be highly offensive to a reasonable person, and 3, the defendant knew or recklessly disregarded the falsity of the publicized matter. The publicity requirement means that the matter is made public by communicating it to the public at large. Plaintiff seems to allege that the statements on Kiwi Farms stating plaintiff did not want to receive a mental health evaluation and that he had victims cast plaintiff in a false light. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. False light based on refusal to receive mental health evaluation. Plaintiff alleges that defendant posted on Kiwi Farms that plaintiff was refusing to enter a plea deal because plaintiff did not want to receive a mental health evaluation. Kiwi Farms, while it is a public website, has a limited readership. Furthermore, anything that is posted on Kiwi Farms must be searched for through a myriad of links. As plaintiff himself admits, he has been unable to find the alleged false light statement on the site. Once a statement is... Never ever file a complaint and say, I can't find the thing that I'm suing over, but I totes will if you let the case go on. Never do that. That's a bad legal strategy right there. Considering you basically have all of the time from the time you discover something through the statute of limitations to find it, you're not under a deadline. So, once a statement is posted on Kiwi Farms, it can quickly become buried under comments and responses. Posting any sort of statement on Kiwi Farms should not be considered communicating it to the public at large. Therefore, plaintiff's claims fails under the first prong of the false light claim. Plaintiff does not show how the knowledge that someone not wanting a mental health evaluation would be highly offensive to a reasonable person. There are many non-offensive reasons why someone would not want a mental health evaluation. Someone may not want to take the time to be evaluated, or they may not have the money to pay for such an evaluation. Indeed, it is hard to think of a way this statement would be highly offensive to a reasonable person, because not wanting a mental health evaluation is not highly offensive. Plaintiff's claim fails the second prong. Now, this is, I'm going to be critical here. That's a weak paragraph. This first paragraph's okay. This second paragraph is weak. Both of them are lacking something very important. There's no citations. There's no citations for either of them. Now, I know it's hard to find something on point for stuff like this, but you want to try. You want to try to throw a citation in there on each one of these. A similar case where someone had a similar issue, but not always possible. Just a minor criticism. Plaintiff also contends that because users of Kiwi Farms did not see the email the prosecutor sent plaintiff's defense attorney, they did not know if there were other provisions in the plea deal that may have caused the plaintiff not to take it. Therefore, plaintiff's claim that defendants knew or recklessly disregarded the truth fails. As plaintiff himself states, the defendants had not seen the email and therefore did not know. Defendants did know that the prosecutor was now asking for a mental health evaluation as part of the plea deal. Therefore, they were not acting with reckless disregard of the truth. Therefore, plaintiff's claim fails in the third prong of the false light claim. This is a better paragraph. There's no citations, but this is direct. This is more direct statements about what was going on. So that one's better. I mean, I think he's right on all of this, by the way. It just would have been good to have a citation on one of them. Cite, Greer is dumb and wrong. Yes. Yes. Because plaintiff fails all three prongs of a prima facie case for false light, plaintiff fails to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. Therefore, the court should grant defendant's motion to dismiss on the false light claim. False light based on using the term victims. As shown above, posting statements on Kiwi Farm should not be construed as publicizing to the public at large. Again, that's an iffy one for me, but it's an argument, that's for sure. Furthermore, plaintiff does not allege that defendants themselves have publicized the plaintiff as victims. Plaintiff merely states the word is mentioned on Kiwi Farms in connection with his court case. Therefore, plaintiff fails the first prong, prima facie false light claim with the victim statement. Plaintiff again does not show how the word victims is highly offensive to the reasonable person. Plaintiff admits he has one victim from his court case and admits he has made unsolicited contact with celebrities, including suing Taylor Swift. Plaintiff never states clearly how using the term victims has offended him. Therefore, plaintiff again fails the second prong. Plaintiff admits in his complaint that users of Kiwi Farms find his way of flirting and conversing with women victimizes them. Plaintiff seems to believe that because some men are even worse than him at how they treat women. Okay, that's some funny wording right there. Right there. Let's read that again. Plaintiff seems to believe that because some men are even worse than him in how they treat women, users of Kiwi Farm should give him a pass. Ooh. Oh, man. Yes, I am aware that Scortis was also the attorney for Ariana Grande in the small claim suit that Greer filed against her. Yes. Plaintiff believes that by putting the word victims on his page, he is portrayed as having many victims. But victims means only more than one victim. Plaintiff himself asserts in his complaint that the defendants and other users of Kiwi Farms believes he has more than one victim. Defendants did not know or recklessly disregard the fact that plaintiff may have more than one victim. Users of Kiwi Farms posted their opinion that plaintiff had more than one victim. Therefore, plaintiff again fails the third prong on the prima facie case for false light. Because plaintiff fails all three prongs, it should be dismissed. Defendants have not published false statements of fact about the plaintiff. For a claim of defamation, the plaintiff must show that the defendant published statements about the plaintiff that were false, defamatory, and not subject to any privilege, that the statements were published with the requisite degree of fault, and that their publication resulted in damage. To be defamatory, the statement must be more than a mere opinion. In our case, Kiwi Farms is a forum where multiple users get together and discuss their opinions on various matters. The statements regarding plaintiff on Kiwi Farms are mere opinions of plaintiff's conduct and the course of his legal matters. Therefore, the statements do not fall within the definition of defamatory speech. The only statements defendants have made regarding plaintiff are defendants' opinions. It was defendants' opinion that plaintiff refused the plea deal because of the mental health evaluation, and it was defendants' opinion plaintiff has had more than one victim. This one, I mean, I think they're going to get this taken care of anyway, but having more than one victim I don't know if that's an opinion. Maybe victim can be argued to be opinion. But it's starting to get into that territory, right? Starting to get there. And more than one is certainly a statement of fact matter. That's a fact question. Matthew Brazel says, I started watching your show and subbed with your collab with Nux. Thank you for your great content. It makes the hour-long drive home from work much more pleasant. Hey, thank you, Matthew. My pleasure. My pleasure. Plaintiff has not alleged sufficient facts to show defendants intended any defamatory implications. Again, I think they're going to get through there, but mainly because I don't think Greer has the capacity to argue his way around that, and the statute of limitations thing. But more than one is a fact statement. I guess the question lies in what is a victim. Is that a statement of fact? That's a tough one. Whatever a victim is, does he have more than one of them? I don't know. Plaintiff has not alleged sufficient facts to show defendants intended any defamatory implications. To have a prima facie case for defamation by implication, the plaintiff must allege facts sufficient to show the defendants intended the implications. Plaintiff must also show the statements are susceptible to a defamatory interpretation. So what Skordas is doing here is what Russell Greer should have done in his complaint, by the way. You take the rule on how, with the elements of the claim, and you write it. That's what you do for each claim, each cause of action. You write down the rule, and then you take your facts section, and you go through and you point out each element. For this element, here's this thing from the facts. For this element, here's this thing from the facts. And it's like a handy-dandy little checklist, not just for the judge, but for you as you're writing the case. Because as you're writing your document and you go through your little checklist and you go, oh, wait, my fact section does not have a paragraph that I can cite to that talks about this element. I better go and add that back to my fact section so then I can cite it in my cause of action section. You should do this. Lots of people don't. It blows my mind. I don't get it. In his complaint, plaintiff asserts no facts that show defendants intended any defamatory implications, nor does plaintiff explain why the statements are susceptible to a defamatory interpretation. Therefore, plaintiff also fails to assert a prima facie claim for defamation by implication, and the court should grant defendant's motion to dismiss. Conclusion, because plaintiff's defamation and false light claims are barred by the statute of limitations, defendants qualify for immunity under the CDA. There is no civil action for electronic communications harassment, and plaintiff fails to state a prima facie case for his claims. The court should grant defendant's motion, and plaintiff's claims should be dismissed with prejudice. There you go. Skordas and Paxton LLC, signed Greg Skordas, dated this 9th day of April 2021. Fresh off the presses. And it has been served to Russell Greer. Good job, Russell. All right. So that's the first document. Now we've got the second document. Wolvenar, no, it doesn't really matter. No. All right. Oh, man, I'm itchy today. So this is the response in opposition to plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction. I have a feeling we're going to see some very similar sort of language in here. But we'll check it. We'll check it out. Defendants Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms, by and through their counsel of record, Gregory Skordas, hereby file this opposition to plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction. Defendants base this opposition on the following. There are 4 well-established factors the moving party must show before the court can grant a preliminary injunction. A substantial likelihood of prevailing on the merits. That's going to be a problem. Irreparable harm unless the injunction is issued. also a problem because what new harm is going to be suffered that's irreparable for Russell Greer here? Because if Russell Greer's been damaged, he's already been damaged, and the remedy for that damage is money, okay? If the remedy is just more money, then a preliminary injunction shouldn't issue. So, like, if he suffered $1,000 of damage today, but if this is allowed to proceed through the court system without an injunction, he's going to suffer another $1,000. Well, then the remedy is just $2,000. Another $1,000 isn't irreparable harm. Neither is another $100,000, another $1 million. That's not irreparable. So he's going to have a problem with that part of it. 3, that the threatened injury outweighs the harm that the preliminary injunction may cause the opposing party. That's a big speech question there. Not looking good. And that the injunction, if issued, will not adversely affect the public interest, which public interest may need to know just how many victims Russell Greer has. All right. If the moving party is seeking a disfavored injunction, they face a higher burden to prove each of the 4 factors. A disfavored injunction is one that mandates action, 2, changes the status quo, or 3, grants all the relief of the moving party could expect from a trial win. Plaintiff is requesting that defendants be enjoined from operating the entire Kiwi Farms website during the case, or they be forced to remove every web page regarding plaintiff from defendant's website. Because this injunction mandates action, good job, Russell. Plaintiff faces a higher burden to demonstrate the 4 factors of a preliminary injunction. Furthermore, this preliminary injunction would quite possibly change the status quo by forcing defendant Joshua Moon to shut down his entire website. And of course, this is where sometimes asking for the moon in a lawsuit, no pun intended, is not the right move, Russell. As defendants have shown in their 12B6 motion to dismiss all claims, there is not a substantial likelihood plaintiff will prevail on the merits. In their motion, defendants have demonstrated how each of the plaintiff's claims should be thoroughly dismissed. Defendants lay out briefly each main point as to why plaintiff's claims should be dismissed, detailing why plaintiff is not likely to prevail. Defamation and false light claims are barred by the statute of limitation. If a 1-year statute of limitation in his complaint, plaintiff fails to specify any alleged defamatory or false light statements that happened within 1 year of bringing the complaint, besides the one use of the word victims and the opinion that plaintiff did not want to seek a mental health evaluation. As shown in the motion to dismiss, these do not fall under defamatory or false light statements. Therefore, plaintiff cannot prevail on these 2 claims. Defendants qualify for immunity under the Communications Decency Act. Under the Act, defendants are immune from being liable for the actions of the users of their website. Therefore, they can't prevail on this claim. Utah Code 769201 does not authorize a civil cause of action for electronic communications harassment. The courts have declared there is no civil cause of action for electronic communications harassment. Therefore, plaintiff cannot prevail. And number 4, plaintiff failed to state a prima facie case for contributory copyright infringement, false light defamation, and defamation by implication. Plaintiff has failed to state a prima facie case for the 4 of his 5 claims, and they should be dismissed. Therefore, plaintiff cannot prevail on these 4 claims. Because plaintiff's claims are barred by the statute of limitations, defendants qualify for immunity, there is no civil cause of action for electronic communication harassment, and plaintiff failed to state a prima facie case for his claims. Plaintiff is not likely to prevail on the merits of his case. Therefore, plaintiff cannot demonstrate the first factor to be granted a preliminary injunction, and his motion should be denied. There will not be irreparable harm to the plaintiff if the injunction is not issued. The majority of discussions and threads on Kiwi Farms have nothing to do with plaintiff. The forums that do concern plaintiff have been operating for over 4 years. Any possible harm that could befall plaintiff from discussions on Kiwi Farms has already occurred. Plaintiff speculates that the alleged copyright infringement on Kiwi Farms has hurt his marketing and profits on his works. The facts in this complaint seem to indicate that Kiwi Farms has generated more interest in his book and music than there would have been beforehand. Plaintiff has also not demonstrated how shutting down Kiwi Farms will stop those who have already allegedly harassed him. Therefore, he's not met his burden and will not be irreparable harm to the plaintiff if the injunction is not issued. I might have included just a little bit about how if he were to prevail on his copyright claim, the damages on that copyright claim would be the remedy, and the harm would not be irreparable because there is a court remedy for damages on copyright. I would have probably just thrown that in there myself, but that's me. The harm to defendants outweighs the possible injury to the plaintiff if the injunction is granted. If defendants are forced to shut down their entire website, they could be hurt by losing multiple users of their website. Defendant Joshua Moon has worked hard to make Kiwi Farms what it is today, and many of the users of Kiwi Farms use the forums as a safe place to express their opinions about various issues. Oh, he just called Kiwi Farms a safe space. If defendants are forced to remove the pages regarding plaintiff, many users of Kiwi Farms may decide that the website is no longer a safe space for open and frank discussion. This may cause Kiwi Farms to lose account holders. Furthermore, Mr. Moon does make money through Kiwi Farms, mainly through merchandise. Defendants also have the potential of securing long-term sponsors. If defendants are forced to shut down Kiwi Farms or any part of it, it would harm defendants economically. Even if defendants had to shut down for only the duration of the current matter, the likelihood they would lose potential sponsors is high. Mr. Moon also uses donations to keep Kiwi Farms running. If defendants are forced to close down the website or parts of the website, defendants may lose the support of their donations, and if plaintiff loses, as is likely, defendants may not be able to regain that support. He's not demonstrated how he would be injured if the injunction is not granted and defendants will be harmed. This harm outweighs any possible injury to plaintiff. The injunction will adversely affect the public interest. There's a long history of public interest in free and open discourse. Myriads of topics found on Kiwi Farms and the number of registered users show that the public is interested in the material found on the website. This undermines their statements that publishing to Kiwi Farms is not a publication to the general public. I don't think it's going to matter, but I just want to point that out. The vast interest in plaintiffs' criminal and civil cases found on Kiwi Farms has attracted global interest. So does that. This all runs contrary to the idea that publishing his stuff is not publishing to the general public. Plaintiff claims that Kiwi Farms has been linked to 3 suicides, but cites only one article about the suicide of one woman who had previously been mentioned on Kiwi Farms. Plaintiff offers no other evidence for his assertion that Kiwi Farms can be linked to 3 suicides. If defendants are forced to shut down the website or remove the pages regarding plaintiff, the public interest will be adversely affected. Conclusion. Because plaintiff has failed to demonstrate the 4 factors to be granted a preliminary injunction, especially when using the heightened burden, plaintiff's motion should be denied. Straight and to the point. Done. Done. So, there is the Kiwi Farms section of this. That is, that's that. It's Scortis has a nice writing style. It's short, brutal, concise, effective, clear, not trying any silly stuff. It's just straightforward law. Here's the citation. Here's the elements. Here's where the elements fail. Dismiss. So good stuff. Good stuff. I like it. I like it. Does anybody have any questions, class, about how you defend yourself against the evil Russell Greer? All right. I guess we can do this Twitter one. I don't really know if I want to do the full thing here because we've already done this case and it's 80 pages total. It might not be 80 pages of lawsuit. Let me look. Oh yeah, a lot of it's Twitter privacy policy, Twitter exhibits. But it is 41 pages. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we have anything else. No. So we'll probably do a high-level overview of this. I don't think we're going to go through the whole thing. That would take forever. But here we go. So this is a case we covered earlier. It's John Doe versus Twitter Inc. Is this the Wait, is this the updated one? No, this is the old one. Hold on. That's the old one. I got the new one here. The new one's only 55 pages. There we got John Doe 1 and John Doe 2. Now I know. Now I know what's going on. Let's see if we have. This is all complaint. This is all complaint. So let's see if we can find. Come on. You know what? You know what I hate about this case? I hate the names on the perv pedo Twitter accounts. 167,000 views from Muscle Scally Twinks. You know, that just... Get on the fucking wall. Get on the wall. Nobody needs you. Okay. I think for the most part, this is going to be the same as before. But let's see if the intro is changed. We have if they have a description of the other party. Okay. This is a civil action for damages under the Federal Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act. Failure to report child sexual abuse material, civil remedy for personal injuries related to sex trafficking, receipt and distribution of child pornography, and related state law claims arising from defendant's conduct when it knowingly hosted sexual exploitation material, including child sexual abuse material, referred to in some instances as child pornography, and allowed human trafficking in the dissemination of child sexual abuse material to continue on its platform, therefore profiting and receiving value from the harmful and exploitative material and the traffic it draws. Let's see if we can get something. Plaintiffs John Doe 1 and John Doe number 2 were solicited and recruited for sex trafficking as minors. After they escaped from the manipulation, child sexual abuse material depicting them was disseminated on Twitter. When Twitter was first alerted to this fact and the ages of the children, Twitter refused to remove the illegal material and instead continued. So I'm wondering if John Doe 2 is just the other kid in the video. Let's see. Jurisdiction and venue. Parties, plaintiffs. So we've got John Doe number 1 is a resident of Florida and was a minor child at all times relevant. Has reached the age of majority. Accordingly, Jane Doe will be withdrawing from this action and no longer be serving as his next friend, and the action will be maintained directly by John Doe himself. John Doe number 2 is a resident of Florida and was a minor child at all times relevant to the allegations contained herein. He is now a legal adult. Both plaintiffs seek to proceed in this action pseudonymously because the subject matter of the allegations is sensitive and highly personal. Let's see. And they've granted both John Doe's, I believe, applications to proceed anonymously so far. So the Twitter business model. I want to see if we can find out anything about the other plaintiff. If it's someone from the exact same, if it's someone from the same video or from a different video. That's what I'm curious about. Wait. Huh? James Andrew Morrison. Oh, wait. Yeah. 200 likes just went away. Thanks, YouTube, for that one. James Andrew Morrison says, Lamau, is someone really reporting a channel called Ricada Law for discussing a law topic? Who said they're reporting me? I didn't see that. It was probably a joke, but. Yeah. That's YouTube's new thing to protect Joe Biden. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. The patrolling that's been going on, that's part of that. Only started when they announced that they were going to stop allowing dislikes, because Joe Biden's feelings were hurt by everybody disliking his videos. So anyway, Twitter and sexual exploitation material. Let's get to the John Does here. Here, let me summarize this. Jack loves child porn, and so does Twitter. Twitter and Jack make a bunch of money off of child pornography. Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, profits off of the sexual exploitation of children on his platform, and Twitter refuses to remove the content. Twitter will censor you from calling someone a derogatory name. They will ban you forever, but they will allow child porn to sit on their servers for a very, very long time before eventually getting around to removing it. Remember, if you say something about someone's gender identity on Twitter, you will be banned within hours. If you are hosting child pornography on Twitter, you'll stay there for days, if not weeks, and they will do nothing about it. Jack Dorsey and Twitter love child pornography, and they love to exploit children for profit. Fuck Jack Dorsey and Twitter. Disgusting garbage people. All right. See if we can get to this specific thing. Here's a bunch of child porn searching stuff. Trafficking of John Doe 1 and 2. Thank goodness. Plaintiff John Doe 1 was a minor at the inception of his lawsuit. Plaintiff John Doe 2 is presently 18 years old, currently a student in high school. When John Doe number 1 was 13 to 14 years old, he began interacting with someone he thought was an individual person on the communication application Snapchat. Don't get your kids Snapchat, by the way. And by kids, I mean anyone under 50. Don't let them go on Snapchat. Let's see. That person or persons, traffickers, represented to John Doe number 1 that she was a 16-year-old female and John Doe 1 believed that person went to his school. John Doe 1 was communicating with the traffickers on Snapchat while he was in the presence of his friend, John Doe number 2. Okay, it's from the same video. When the traffickers realized that both John Doe number 1 and 2 were present together, they suggested that they exchange nude photos and or videos. John Doe 1 and 2 both exchanged nude photos and or videos with the traffickers on Snapchat. Traffickers sent a photo of what appeared to be teen girls, and John Doe 1 and 2 responded with photos of themselves. After they did so, the correspondence changed to blackmail. Now the traffickers wanted more sexually graphic pictures or videos of John Doe 1 and 2, and recruited, enticed, threatened, and solicited them by threatening them if they did not provide this material, then the images and videos that they had already sent would be sent to their parents, coach, pastor, and others in the community. Initially, John Doe 1 and 2 complied with the traffickers' demands. They were told to provide pictures or videos of themselves performing sexual acts, and they did so. Ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The pictures and videos constitute child sexual abuse material and sex trafficking because John Doe 1 and 2 were minors at the time it was produced. It was produced by the minors after the traffickers threatened, defrauded, and solicited the images, videos from the minors, and the images, videos contain lewd and or pornographic material. Messaging him on his phone, the traffickers also attempted to meet with John Doe number 1 in person. Fortunately, an in-person meeting never took place. So there is what happened. So John Doe number 2 was the one in the pictures and videos. So that's gross. Let's see. At some point in 2019, those saved images and videos appeared in a compilation video surfaced on Twitter, showing multiple child sexual abuse material images and videos depicting John Doe 1 and 2. Compilation video was posted by the Twitter user handles at Straight Bros and Fit Males Blog. Again, There's not enough fire. There's not enough fire in the world. So anyway, I don't think we need to keep going through this. We now know who John Doe 2 is in relation to the suit. Wasn't sure if it was a separate video or photo incident or if it was the other person from the same incident. Turns out it's the other person from the same incident. I don't really like dwelling on this subject, so I'm going to say that this subject can go peacefully into that good night, and I don't want to talk about it again. And until there's another major case update. And I hope beyond hope that Twitter burns for it. And the worst part is, I know they won't. I know they won't. I know nothing will happen to Twitter. Remember, Pornhub, right? Pornhub had its entire monetization scheme removed because of allegations that some user uploaded child sexual abuse material on their website. All of it. All their monetization gone. Poof. And then they had to remove something like, they had to remove millions and millions and millions of videos and change their entire business model. Twitter won't have to do anything. And guess what? There is far more child pornography on Twitter than there ever was on YouTube. Or on Pornhub. Sorry. Far more child abuse on Twitter and Facebook than there ever was on Pornhub. But they are protected. They are protected, and they will continue to be protected. No one's going to go after them. And if you think that the Democrat legislators, Democrat senators, and Democrat president are going to do anything to the platforms that literally gave them the presidency, I would ask you to think again. It will never happen. Kathy Carver, thank you for the very large donation. I have to assume that YouTube censored your comment because they're jerks like that. If you can just tag me, if you wanted to say something, just tag me in the chat. I'd be happy to read your comment. I'm sorry that the censors are out in force on us, but that's where it goes. I wish it was something different, but go ahead and tag me, and I would be happy to read your message. Sorry about that. I have every restriction on YouTube set as low as possible in regards to the chat. It's set all the way down. I wish I could do more, but so that's that. Okay, next. What do we got next? Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton. So here we go. Here is Ken Paxton being sued by Twitter. Wait, this isn't the one I was thinking of. I'm talking about a different Ken Paxton lawsuit. Because believe it or not, there's another one. Classical Positioning says, so Alex Jones's new BanThis.tv website has a video of a woman with cartel tattoos claiming one's her child moving these people to an airport, just in case anyone had doubts about trafficking with these people. So, there you go. There you go. I need to find the other Ken Paxton lawsuit. Sorry. This is not the one I was talking about. Oh, goodness. Here we go. This is the new Ken Paxton lawsuit. Ken Paxton is the Attorney General of Texas. So he is, by the way, he is the bane of the Biden administration already. He has won a couple lawsuits. The Biden wanted to do a 100-day moratorium on deportations. Ken Paxton got that thing shut down. Biden wanted to do something else. I can't remember what it was. Ken Paxton sued him, got that shut down. Ken, you can expect to be a thorn in the Biden administration side. Attorneys General of Texas love to sue the federal government, especially when the Attorney General is a Republican and the president happens to be a Democrat. That's how Ted Cruz kind of made his name, suing the Obama administration quite a bit. They sue the government, and they do pretty well at it. Now, this lawsuit is from the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. These are the same people who sued Trump back in 2018 for blocking people on Twitter, namely blue check marks who were persistently on their menstrual cycle. And I mean that with all of the respect in the world to them. So he was blocking journalists, basically. Trump was. And because he blocked journalists, they sued him. In 2018, they won at the appeals court. And the appeals court said that Donald Trump could not block people on Twitter. And they appealed that to the Supreme Court. And then the Supreme Court finally decided to hear it after Trump was out of office just recently and dismissed the claim as moot. We read Clarence Thomas's opinion on it. I did a video on Clarence Thomas's opinion on it today, specifically. And that is what's going on. Clarence Thomas said it's moot because Trump is no longer president, but he also suggested that it would be hard for them to maintain a lawsuit against Donald Trump because he doesn't have control over his Twitter account. Twitter does. Twitter has control over the account. And he suggested that it can't really be a government space if the private entity holds more control than the government entity. Now, here's the problem. That's not the opinion of the court. That's a concurring opinion of Clarence Thomas. So they're still able to bring this lawsuit against Ken Paxton. And they have to go ahead and do this. They have to go through all of the motions to get this taken care to fight this. So this is going to go through a California court, and then it's going to go to the Ninth Circuit, and then who knows? And according to the Supreme Court, if Twitter just bans Ken Paxton, this whole case is moot. Now think about that. If Twitter bans Ken Paxton because of the lawsuit, then they solve the lawsuit problem. Just get rid of this problem. Poof, bye, Ken Paxton. Jason McConnell says it's a little known fact Ken Paxton's paralegal is Corn Pop. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It is this is the illustrious Corn Pop. Infamous. But okay. So here's what I think Ken Paxton should do. Before anything, Ken, if you're out there, I know you watched the show. That one lazy eye. I know you watched the show, Ken. Have you guys seen Ken Paxton's lazy eye? He's got a lazy eye. I don't know if it's a fake eye. I don't know what it is. I'm not dumping on the man, but let's just take a gander. Look at the eyes of Ken Paxton here. Look at this. This is a portrait shot. This doesn't count. Look at this one. It's this eye. It's this eye. Got one here. Look at that. The lazy eye. Here we go. There it is again. So, just saying. I know he watches the show, but I know he only does it out of one eye. That being said, Ken, since you're watching this show right now live, definitely, you have to join Twitter as a party to this suit. You have to. And then you have to say that you didn't block them. You requested Twitter to block them. Justice Thomas told us exactly how to do this. Ken Paxton did not block anybody on Twitter. He merely issued a request at the behest of his government position to Twitter, and Twitter acquiesced to his request and blocked people from seeing or responding to his tweets. You need to do this. You need to join Twitter. Required joinder as the only people who can make this happen. They must be part of the suit as co-defendants with you. Please be funny. Please be a troll. Please do that. It would be so much better. It would get this thing fast-tracked. That's what needs to happen here. So Thomas basically said about the Trump case, it's not a good case because they didn't include Twitter. When Twitter's the one who actually does the blocking, they have control over the account. So anyway, I don't know Ken Paxton, but I know people who know Ken Paxton. So I'm going to have to send an email to those people and say, you've got to get this to Ken. Please, for the love of God, get this to Ken Paxton. Join Twitter. Required joinder. Make them sit next to you in defense of their blocking of these poor people's First Amendment rights. Make Twitter put it down on paper. That would be just delicious. Let's take a gander at the lawsuit. Defendant Texas Attorney General Warren Kenneth Paxton Jr. uses the @KenPaxtonTX Twitter account for official purposes, including to share information with constituents and solicit their views about government policy. But he has blocked many people from the account because they criticized him or his policies. This practice is unconstitutional. We don't actually know this. Plaintiffs are the Knights First Amendment Institute at Columbia University, as well as 9 individuals who were blocked from the Ken Paxton TX account after they criticized Attorney General Paxton for his policies. Attorney General Paxton's blocking of the individual plaintiffs from the account based on viewpoints violates the individual plaintiff's right to speak in a public forum. It also violates their right of access to important government information and their right to petition the government for redress of grievances. The Knight Institute has not been blocked, but it follows both the Ken Paxton TX account and the individual plaintiffs' accounts. Attorney General Paxton blocking of critics from the Ken Paxton TX account violates the Knight Institute's and individual plaintiffs' right to hear the speech that these individuals would have engaged in had they not been blocked from the account. That one's a stretch. Plaintiffs respectfully ask that the court declare the defendant's blocking of the individual plaintiffs violates the First Amendment, order defendant to unblock the individual plaintiffs from the Ken Paxton TX account, order defendant to unblock all other individuals who were blocked from the account based on their viewpoints, and order other relief as requested below. Jurisdiction in and venue. So this will be the interesting one. I'm curious how they get a California court to have jurisdiction over Ken Paxton. I'm going to guess they do it through Ken Paxton's agreement to the Twitter Terms of Service, which says that any lawsuits arising out of this will be done in the Northern District of California. I'm going to guess that, but we'll see. The action arises under 42 U.S.C. 1983 for violations of civil rights under the First and 14th Amendments. Court has subject matter jurisdiction. Declaratory relief is authorized by 28 U.S.C. 2201, 2202. Venue is proper under 28 U.S.C. 1391 B1 and B2 because defendant resides in this district and a substantial part of the events giving rise to this claim occurred in this district. Wait a minute, what? Oh, sorry, Western District of Texas. I'm completely wrong. I was thinking of this one. This is the one in the Northern District of California. My bad. My bad. My mistake. This is in Austin. Okay. So no, this is brought in the proper venue. So this will go to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Well, this is better news. This is better news. Federal courts in Texas have been different, we'll say, than Ninth Circuit courts. I think YouTube is screwing with my chat. Yeah, YouTube has been screwing with my channel now for about 8 months, very specifically. There's not much I can do about it. So here we go. The Knight Institute is a New York not-for-profit corporation based at Columbia University that works to preserve and expand the freedoms of speech and the press in the digital age through strategic litigation, research, and public education. Nope. We'll just call them what they are. They're a partisan institute. That's what they are. They're partisan. They're not actually concerned about freedom of speech and press. If they were, they'd be suing Twitter. But they're not suing Twitter. By the way, I believe they filed this after Clarence Thomas's ruling. They've read Clarence Thomas's ruling. They know how this is going to go. Okay, plaintiff Mario Carrillo, who resides in Austin, Texas, is a campaign manager for a pro-immigration organization. He operates a Twitter account under the handle @MarioCarrillo. Plaintiff Joseph Casino, who resides in Austin, Texas, is a student at the University of Texas, Austin. He operates a Twitter account under the handle Joe Casino Tex. Justin Champlin, who resides in Austin, works in sales for a technology company. He operates a Twitter account under the handle Des Porkloins. Plaintiff Edward Espinoza, who resides in Austin, Texas, is the executive director of a media organization that promotes progressive messages. No. He operates the Twitter account under the handle Ed Espinoza. Plaintiff Omar Gallaga, who resides in New Braunfels, Texas, is a freelance journalist. He operates the Twitter handle Omarg. How big are these Twitter accounts? Right? Like, that's a good question. They're probably getting a lot bigger right now. Okay, so Omar has 14,500 followers. Ed Espinoza, he's 4587. Oh God, what is he doing? Look at that guy right there. Look at that weird hair that's going on. Okay. All right. Okay, Ed. Whoops. Here we go. We got Des Porkloins. $142 followers on Des Porkloins. So there's that. We've got Joe Cascino TX. 1,379 followers on this guy. Ugh. And let's check out Mario Carrillo. 3,486 followers there. So, okay. Great. Bunch of very important people. Plaintiff Fatima Maniar, who resides in Houston, Texas, is a United States Army veteran and project manager for a health insurance company. She operates a Twitter account under the handle Fatima TX. Plaintiff Jennifer Ramos, who resides in Austin, is a project assistant for a communications firm. She operates a Twitter account under the handle It's Jen Ramos. Plaintiff John Ruffier, who resides in El Paso, Texas, is a student at the University of Texas, El Paso, and an office assistant at a medical supply company. He operates a Twitter account under the handle Not the Chips. And James Skurlock, who resides in Leander, Texas, is an attorney. He operates a Twitter account under the handle Real Skurlock. Real Skurlock. Okay. Good. I bet this guy has seen and hates me. I'm willing to bet money on it. So anyway, background, Twitter's a social media platform. Users, timelines, oh my God. Twitter user must have an account name, which is an @ symbol. Oh, geez, this is super boring. Tweets. What are tweets? Following verification, retweeting. All this stuff, replying. They're explaining Twitter to a judge. Okay. Protected tweets, blocking. So a user whose account is public, i.e. not protected, but who wants to deny another user access to his or her tweets can do so by blocking that user. Twitter provides users with the capability to block others, but importantly, it is the users themselves who decide whether to make use of this capability. See, and this is where they added that, likely in response to Clarence Thomas. But I'm telling you, Ken Paxton needs to join Twitter and says that he could not possibly block anyone on Twitter without the affirmative acquiescence of Twitter. A user who blocks another user prevents the blocked user from interacting with the blocked user's account on Twitter platform. A blocked user cannot see or reply to the blocked user's tweets, view the blocking user's list of followers or followed accounts, or use the Twitter platform to search for the blocking user's tweets. The blocking user will not be notified if the blocked user mentions him or her, nor will the blocking user see any tweets posted by the blocked user. The blocked user attempts to follow the blocking user or to access the Twitter webpage from which the user is blocked. User will see a message indicating that the other user has blocked him or her, blah, blah, blah. We know how this works. They're explaining it to the judge. This is an example of a notification from Twitter that a user has been blocked. You're blocked. And then there's limiting replies as well. The Ken Paxton TX account. So we know what's going on here. Again, I don't want to sit and belabor this point. They're doing the same thing to Ken Paxton that they did to Donald Trump. They're trying to make some point that I guess Republicans can't block people on Twitter. That's the idea. Notice they're not suing AOC. Notice who blocks people. Notice they're not suing Ilhan Omar. Notice they're not suing anybody except first it was Donald Trump. Now it's Ken Paxton. These are partisan hacks. Because, that's what it is. They're trying to win some sort of point. I don't know what point that is, but Republicans need to learn to fight dirty. Republicans need to learn to fight dirty on all this stuff. All of it. All right, let's talk about something more fun. Because this is the same nonsense that here's all their sob stories. Okay, wait. Let's do this. Let's look at their brilliant fucking tweets that got them blocked, right? Because if you're going to get blocked by a politician and then bring it to court, it better be a banger, right? Hey, Ken, maybe if you could keep that lazy eye on your wife instead of on the wall outside, you would have seen Tyrone coming, right? Maybe something like that. That's how you get blocked by a politician. You got to drop that hot fire. You're going to put that in a lawsuit. Let's see what they've got. Here we go. In a tweet on October 29th, 2020, Mr. Carrillo retweeted a tweet from the Texas Attorney General account which stated that Attorney General Paxton's office was exploring options for preventing the El Paso County judge from issuing a shutdown order. Mr. Carrillo commented, "The party of local control strikes again. Also, when is court date again, Ken Paxton TX?" That's it. Oh, wait. On October 31st, he retweeted a tweet from the Texas Attorney General account regarding Attorney General Paxton's guidance to election officials. Poll watchers did not need to maintain 6 feet of distancing. Carrillo commented, "In case y'all didn't know, Ken Paxton TX is a ghoul." Oh, yeah, you got him. Bam. Nailed it. That's it. That's your awesome. That's your big burn. Let's see. Mr. Casino believes Attorney General Paxton blocked him from the account on or around January 4th or on January 3rd. Attorney General Paxton tweeted this. Mr. Casino replied to the tweet stating, "Go on and beg for your pardon." Okay. Oh, then another one. Mr. Casino replied to that tweet stating, "Enjoy the fresh air before you go to prison, Kenneth." Ooh. Nailed him. God. Oh, man. Woo. By the way, the feds are investigating Ken Paxton's office for something involving RICO or money laundering or whatever. That's what they're referencing here. I guess it probably says outstanding indictments. So yeah, a state attorney general who has sued the federal government a whole bunch is being investigated by the feds. News at 11. Next, we got Champlin. What banger account or banger tweet does he have? Let's see. "I guess you didn't try hard enough. What a waste of a hearing. You wasted everyone's time by sending unprepared lawyers with no basis to their claims." I guess that's the big one there. Okay. Edward Espinoza, you're up next. Do you have a good tweet? Are any of these people funny? It's a trick question. Let's see. Mr. Espinoza replied to the tweet asking if the Texas Supreme Court could stop the holdup on Attorney General Paxton's 5+ year felony indictment. Mr. Espinoza added in his tweet, "It should be illegal that you've been allowed to evade it for so long." Then on January 7th, Mr. Espinoza retweeted a tweet from another account that said, "In case you're wondering what our Texas leaders were up to yesterday," mentioned various Texas officials. Oh, okay. I guess. Why are none of these people interesting? So here we go. "I've lived in Texas for so long that I remember when people took Ken Paxton TX seriously." Well, the courts are taking him seriously right now, I guess. "Spoke too soon. Can you indict someone for willful misuse of and abuse of gradients?" Oh, all right. Oh, now we're getting spicier. "What if the money Ken Paxton TX is requesting for his many lawsuits and for outside counsel on his own shit show case were sent to schools instead? He had, regarding his own shit show case, Mr. Gallaga was referring to an ongoing whistleblower lawsuit against the Attorney General filed in November 2020. in litigation. Former aides to the Attorney General alleged that he retaliated against them for requesting that federal law enforcement investigate the Attorney General for the whistleblowers' alleged potential violations of federal and state law encompassing alleged potential improper influence, abuse of office, and bribery. So there's that. Fatima Manihar. Let's see. As a single mother, she is particularly interested in child support issues. I bet she is. I bet she is. Let's see. 1,931 days since you were indicted of 3 felony counts by a grand jury. Shouldn't you be worried about that instead? Hashtag Paxton for jail. Okay. I don't think we're going to get anything funny out of this. So anyway, you can see none of these people have any comedy in them. There's no wit or soul about their tweets. They're just boring. Instead, let's look at this. All right. This is a story of success, and I fully support this beautiful queen. I want her to buy as many houses as possible. Oh, Ron Paul says, Nick, we can fix all this with one good electromagnetic pulse detonated in the upper atmosphere. The real great reset. YouTube's not really happy with that term right now, so hopefully that's okay. That was a joke, YouTube. I want this chick to buy all of the houses in the world. This is the funniest thing ever. Angry Baneling, how dare you? She is a queen. She is a queen. Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Khan's in the name. She's a leader. Khan Cullors lands Topanga Canyon compound. All right. Here we go. Look at how much LA sucks. Price, $1.4 million. Square footage, 2,400 square feet. $2,400 square feet on a quarter acre. A secluded mini compound tucked into LA's rustic and semi-remote Topanga Canyon was recently sold for a tad more than $1.4 million to a corporate entity that public records show is controlled by Patrisse Khan Cullors, 37-year-old social justice visionary and co-founder of the galvanizing and, for some, controversial Black Lives Matter movement. Khan Cullors, a UCLA and USC graduate, married about 5 years ago to social activist and amateur boxer Janaya Khan. Co-founder of the Black Lives Matter Toronto, created the Black Lives Matter hashtag in 2013 in response to George Zimmerman's acquittal in the 2012 shooting of Trayvon Martin. The proper response was the acquittal of George Zimmerman. I don't care how much you hate George Zimmerman. He is not guilty of murder. When your head is getting bashed into the ground, I'm sorry. You have a right to defend yourself. There is no retreat at that point. And here's the hard part for people to understand. Even if you start a fight, which there's no evidence that George Zimmerman started that fight, but even if he started the fight, you are not given a death sentence. Yeah, well, I started a fight, now I'm losing. Guess I'll fucking die then. That's not how it goes. That's not how society works. There's fighting and then there's killing. So anyway, since then, the largely decentralized movement has been at the influential forefront on issues of police brutality and racially motivated violence against Black people, particularly in the wake of George Floyd's killing last summer. Let's be real honest here. It has nothing to do with George Floyd's killing as to why Black Lives Matter was ramped up in the summer of 2020. It has everything to do with the fact that there was a 2020 election in November. If George Floyd didn't die, Black Lives Matter was going to be active all through 2020. And you can just follow it on Google Trends and see how active they were in 2016 and compare it to 2017, 18, and 19, and then going to 2020. It looks like this. 2016, spike, drop. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. It's amazing. It's almost like the organization exists specifically for a 4-year cycle that no one can predict. It's like a weird Hurricane El Nino cycle or something. I don't know. If only there was some indicator that we would have to find out when Black Lives Matter is going to become important again. I'm guessing 2024. Okay. Con Coolers published When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir in 2018. A winding 15-minute drive from the Commons at Calabasas, and a slightly longer and somewhat less serpentine drive from Malibu's Getty Villa. The pint-sized compound spans about 1/4 of an acre. The property's not quite 2,400 square feet, is divided between a 3-bedroom and 2-bath main house and a separate 1-bed, 1-bath apartment capable of hosting guests long-term with a private entry and a living room with kitchenette. Interior space, so the combined square footage of both buildings is 2,300. Interior spaces feature bamboo floors, and in the spacious open-plan living room, dining area, and kitchen, vaulted ceilings clad in knotty pine. A whitewashed, oh my god, raised hearth brick fireplace anchors the living room, and numerous skylights baths the cavernous space with natural light. I think they mean bathe. The 2 guest bedrooms and hall bathroom are fairly ordinary, as is the simple and up-to-date, though not especially high-end kitchen, while the primary bedroom offers a vaulted, wood-clad ceiling plus a small sitting area with glass sliders to the backyard. An unlandscaped dust bowl with little charm besides the natural beauty of the trees and rugged mountains that envelop the property. The backyard offers little more than a covered patio for al fresco dining, a small deck, and a tiny freestanding cabin, best suited as a home office, meditation retreat, or art studio. Okay. So now is my favorite part. We're going to look at pictures of this. I want you to notice something about the pictures. Specifically, all of the furniture and how literally none of it is real. All of this is CG. So here we go. You can really see it in this picture and the next picture especially. This is all computer-generated furniture. None of this is actually in the house. So, starting to make some more sense with this stuff here. But, yeah. Good job having a fake fucking house. I don't know why they're showing the listing like this, but that's okay. My favorite thing we're going to look at is the comment section. The comment section on this webpage is pretty good. Okay. Why don't you have a refrigerator that fits the space for the refrigerator? Buy a real refrigerator. What's wrong with you? So here's a fake iMac. This is nice. Even the outdoor furniture is fake. Like, this thing doesn't even look real at all. These things are way too, this is all weird looking. So here we go. Here's this is the apartment, by the way. That 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. It's this thing. Look at it. What do you even do in there? That's that's the size of my bathroom. So, here you go. All right. There's a bunch of comments. I don't know if I can read all of them, okay? The first one is from Chad Nelson. Oh, no. Oh, no. I can see how bad this is going to go. Obviously, the little hats control this organization. Just follow the money. It's very true, people. Uh-oh. Globalists. Zionists. Some lady. Wow, I guess all those BLM funds she scooped up went for something good. Too bad it wasn't to actually help black people other than herself. No one in this comment section mentions that the BLM organization is ran by Jews, literally. That's Chad Nelson. Oh no, Seth Rich! Something tells me she won't be housing any Biden border kids at the abode. You'd think that Soros would have given her enough for a 5-bed, 4-bath house at the least. How many Antifa and BLM will protect this property won't be touched? What? This terrorists are just using the rest of the puppets, BLM and Antifa. Only the big booze BLM can live like a king. It's so fun to see this. Unless it comes furnished, it will be completely empty. You all know what that's called. It's like a caddy parked in front of the trailer house. Mark, it doesn't come furnished. That's all CG'd. That's all CG'd. Jay says, I'm more than a bit taken back by the hatred, jealousy, uninformed, and racist comments on this page. Welcome to the internet, Jay. I would never have guessed that dirt readers would be so embarrassing. Oh, yeah, you're right. The highly refined and civilized readers of dirt. Man, I'm surprised they let you down. These comments about the location of the property and whether it is exclusive are mostly by people who know nothing about Los Angeles in general and Topanga Canyon specifically. It is hardly exclusive and is a long way from Bev Hills, etc. Before you accuse her of stealing donations, stop being racist and do research and see where she gets the money. Okay. Where'd she get the money, Jay? Where'd she get the money, Jay? Dude, you're totally missing the point. She bought this most likely with BLM funds. Nothing says Black Lives Matter more than using funds from an organization to help no one other than yourself. It's not just about where she gets the money. It's the principle of where she chooses to live by. She's too good to live in a modest house where normal people she is representing. Ooh. Now you see where BLM donations are going, into the pockets of these scam artists. How's it racist to report the value of a house? It's a matter of public record. Oh, excuse me. Check her background. There's no way she could afford the property unless it was from BLM funds. Poor little J-boy. So misguided. New York Times. Man spent donations to Black Lives Matter on himself. Prosecutors say there is no cause, no tragedy, and no event that fraudsters won't seek to exploit. Prosecutors said it in accusation of a man diverting funds from a group he ran that took in more than $450,000. It is an epidemic with BLM. Unless someone can tell us just one black family they've assisted. Already been one BLM executive arrested for using the dollars to buy a house, car, luxury, etc. Man, look at these people. They're after it. They're after it. Well, she is a terrorist, Jay. So there's that. Oh no, Seth Rich. Oh no. Don't go back in time, Seth. It doesn't work out well for you. I love the phrasing there. Well, she is a terrorist, Jay. So there's that. Do your research. She founded BLM as a trained Marxist, her words that were on the BLM website until she scrubbed it, lol, with the aim to destroy the nuclear family and Western civilization. When you're so worried about white supremacy, yet you still move to a neighborhood with less than a 2% black population, give me a break. Jay, I used to own a house near this purchase. Let's just say it's not exactly South Central. Oh my gosh. White people commenters are so funny. Let's just say it's not exactly South Central. It seems odd that someone so focused on BLM would buy a home in such a pricey area. I always wondered who was getting rich off the whole BLM movement. I don't see huge investment from the BLM bank account into struggling black neighborhoods. Maybe they're spending the millions raised and pledged to build these areas back up and invest in a bright future. I just think this purchase isn't a good look right now. While people all over the USA have been losing their homes, jobs, life dreams, etc., a BLM founder buying $1 million home in LA? She's a racist. Point is not the exclusivity of the home. The fact that it costs more than $1 million. Seems like the only Black Lives That Matter is our own. Business is booming from BLM terrorists. Oh, God. Let's see. The average salary for faculty at Prescott College is $45,856, and the average salary for an art lecturer professor at Otis College of Art and Design is $44,964. I suppose she got full ride scholarships when she did her bachelor's at UCLA and master's at USC. Both are very expensive colleges, and one semester at USC costs around $59,000. Very underprivileged and oppressed indeed, just like Meghan Markle. Where can we set up a GoFundMe to help pay her mortgage? So anyway. So we can see how popular this is. Death Wish. No, you don't need to send me any more money. You do not. I do need to up my house game, apparently. But if you guys ever catch me buying $1.5 million house, it's going to be a shitload bigger than 2,400 square feet. What is this? Why would you? I can't live in California. I can't do it. I can absolutely not. First of all, my family doesn't fit in a 2,400 square foot home. It doesn't do that. So I'll stick with my house. My house costs considerably less and is much, much bigger and is also on 8 acres. So all right, let's see. What else do we have? Anything else funny today? I feel like we've hit most of the stuff. Oh, I didn't talk about this thing yet. Which is this one is annoying. This old. Okay. So Vic was supposed to speak at a church. You guys have probably seen that. So Vic was about to speak at a church on cancel culture, and then the church gave in to cancel culture and decided to cancel the event. So, good job, I guess. Good job, church. And of course, you know who was behind it, right? Basically, the Facebook page of the church was spammed by 2 people who are so fat that they can't even fit in the church building. And we know they wouldn't attend the church anyways, because once they go onto holy ground, they burst into flames and their skin starts falling off, which is the only weight loss program that would be effective, but they don't like it. So that's what it was. Renfamous, Mars Girl, going and spamming the church's Facebook page to cancel Vic, and the church being fucking dumb enough to cancel someone who's about to talk about cancel culture and grace. So good job, church. You had a chance to spread a message that was pretty important about how the church is supposed to react to people, how the church is supposed to be about grace and forgiveness. And they instead didn't, because people who don't go to the church were going to not go? Really? That was your thing? You're a church. Sack the fuck up. Like, you're supposed... Do churches not remember that they're supposed to stand for salvation from death? Like, the church's enemy... Let's remember this. The church's enemy is literal death. That's the enemy of God, is death. And we just had Easter, which is about God conquering death, about showing that death doesn't have power. The church is to stand up against the inevitable, and they can't stand up against a couple fat broads with Facebook accounts? Are you fucking kidding me? How are you at all supposed to service someone? Like, I went to a church. I was visiting Tyler, Texas, visiting family down there several years ago. Lady Rackets and I went to a church, and they were talking about their new property, the new church building that they were buying some land, and they were building a new church building. You know what was next door to that church building? It was a strip club. Literally next door. That's the next door to that church. And the pastor said, now listen. We're going to be right next to this strip club. And it's very possible that we will have someone come in the morning because they left that strip club. Maybe it's a guy who's had a little bit too much to drink. Maybe it's a woman and she's dressed a little differently than the average churchgoer. But we are going to be here to welcome them, to love them, and to show them what it means to be a Christian, and to show them with love, not condemnation, how we live. I just wanted to prepare you because you might see some people that you might not normally see come into the church once we move because of the location, but we're embracing that. We know that that's next door to us, and we welcome those people. That's what a church is supposed to be. And to give in, like to fail your congregation in a way to say, no, we're not going to let this person come speak to our church. Why? Well, some people said they don't like him. That's probably why you should have them come speak. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And that church should be absolutely embarrassed for how they are acting in this. Like, they knew, by the way, they knew what the message was. It's in the ad that they had for it, that he was falsely accused, that he was speaking out about living through cancel culture by the grace of God. They knew what it was about. It's not like it was a surprise to them. And they still completely bitched up. Just pathetic. Uncivil Law says, I wanted to mention, I saw your re-upload of a live stream where you spent the first hour talking about mental health and man conversations. I've dealt with mental health. It was awesome. Hey, thanks, brother. You're on the list, by the way. So you'll be hit up once I get that thing running. So anyway, that's the update there. You know, what do you do? These people, by the way, I want pretty much nothing less than to not really talk about Vic's case ever again. I mean, I want it to be finished. Like, I want to go through and talk about the case, but when the case isn't running, I don't want to talk about Vic and Vic's case. And I really try not to, because this channel has never been a Vic channel, ever. Now, there was a lot of Vic stuff in 2019 when the case was going constant. But if you notice, I don't sit and go back to that well unless someone typically asks me to. The reason I'm talking about this specifically is because someone asked me to advertise the appearance at the church the other day, and so I did. I showed on stream the ad page that they had for, ad isn't the right word. It wasn't paid or anything. Just the announcement, I guess, is better. So I did that, and I showed the place, and the thing. And so since today was news of the cancellation, that's why I'm going back. I don't actually like talking about Vic's drama. I don't want the man to have any. But these vampires can't let it go. They can't let it go. Because they don't get attention anywhere else. So they can't let it go. And that's the sad reality of these people's lives, is that for 2 years, they have hounded and hassled a man who doesn't even know who they are for no reason. He's never interacted with them. He hasn't done anything to them. Hasn't messed with them in any way. Doesn't talk about them. Doesn't even talk about his situation on his own. And yet, they follow him around to every single event and harass some random person to try and get him removed for no benefit to themselves other than their own masturbatory satisfaction. So, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And these are the saddest people on earth. And I would continue to mock them if I had more insults, but I've said all of them. So I don't know. All right, we got a couple more chats, and then we'll probably read the rest of the chats and wrap up the show. Tina says, Nick, I own an AR pistol. With Biden's gun control executive order, I'll have to get rid of it. I feel they're going to be cops showing up at my door asking for my guns at some point. I don't think telling them to leave will work. What would your advice be? Well, they have to have a warrant. They have to have a warrant to enter your property unless the Supreme Court just decides otherwise. But you can tell them to leave without a warrant. As for what to do with the gun when the gun grabbing starts, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And YouTube just cut off a bunch of likes again. It's amazing. Just dropping them like crazy. Oh, I can't wait till my next meeting with my YouTube representative. Because I'm going to be very interested to see their explanation for why likes are disappearing like crazy and why they haven't gotten back to me yet on why my Joe Biden video on his vaccination stuff, why that was considered to be misinformation. I can't wait. That's going to be a fun conversation. I think it's on Tuesday. Okay. Morty J says, I'm so flippin' mad, Nick. I just moved to Waxahachie 2 months ago. Heard about Vic going to the church and was super excited because I haven't found a regular church yet. Thanks, Buffalo Church. You capitulated to the mob. Well, you know, you could let them know. I'm not suggesting that you do, but you are there. You could express how that, influences your decision on where to attend, but that's up to you. I'm not saying that you should or that that's the right thing to do, but you can talk about it here on YouTube, or you could actually talk to the person who made the decision because they're right by you. So, Socialism is for Fig says, Nick, sorry, I just got here, but can you look at the church in Canada? The police let the pastor out after 3 weeks, but they threw up a 6-foot fence and took his church with police. That's not the same guy that we saw. That's not the Polish guy. It's the other one. That's the other guy. Oh gosh, I'm so itchy. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're in Canada, get out. Get out of Canada immediately. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I thought they kept that guy in jail for like 35 days. It was a long time. Asphyxiation says, are you sure the likes aren't just changing based on if the people who liked are still watching? Maybe check the likes while the video is processing to see if they're higher. I mean, I can check that there, but Spectre's like was removed while he was watching because he mentioned it specifically. So it's YouTube announced the other day that they're going to be changing how dislikes appear and disappear, and ever since that announcement, the likes have been doing this. So it's a new fun thing. So great job. Okay. And the dumb thing about it is those likes help distribute content. They help push the content. It's just annoying. Yeah, socialism is for Fig says my like was removed. Yep. It's amazing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Okay. Let me go ahead and read through these chats. We'll wrap up the show. Gonna do something on Twitch tonight. Probably another movie. I'm not gonna do My Cousin Vinny, and I'll tell you why I'm not gonna do My Cousin Vinny. It's because I think it might be fun to have another lawyer to do My Cousin Vinny with, like Ty or something like that. So I'm gonna find a time to do My Cousin Vinny in that way. Icon of Sin says it better not be movie night. I did skip game night last night because I was just done. Isn't uncivil law going to be with you in a month? Yeah, that's a possibility too. Promise so I married an axe murderer? Maybe. We'll see. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do these chats. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out Twitch. Another movie night, or we peacefully protest. I should get that. I should get that game. That everybody's pissed off about being a native, about being an Indian in like colonial America and shooting people in the face with arrows and stuff. Az and I are supposed to respond to Gail on the 15th. I got to talk to him about that, I guess, so we can finish setting it up. All right, anyway. Mario Carter 13 says, I think I ate too many drugs up in here. Up in here. Oh, no. Stop it. Night of Hope says, this is why the Nazi Party nationalized the healthcare system. Marxists always use the same playbook, make everything a public health issue, and then treat opinions and people you don't like as a plague that must be imprisoned in the name of public safety. I saw an article today that was talking about hitting the wall on vaccinations, which meant that they were getting to the threshold of how many people are being vaccinated. And it said, now the trick is to convince the holdouts to get vaccinated as well. So that it's basically, that's going to be the next thing the government is planning to do. Pressure and force people to get the poke. That's what they forced poking sounds like rape. Okay, next. Night of Hope says, the stupid fucking Karens in the centrist part of America are going to have to stop falling for this shit before the Democrat Party becomes a full-on CCP and starts sending cops to gun down their opposition. We're on the verge of some of this now. Stop it. Deathwish says, justice chat. I am the law. Bad Dragonite says, just before the stream, I watched a couple of videos comparing modern America to quotes from George Orwell in 1984. Barely anything is eye-opening or disturbing or enraging. I knew it was going on already, but seeing it compiled makes it worse. Deathwish says, best donut is an apple fritter. Krispy Kreme sucks. DMX and Jay-Z were the death of rap. Biggie and Cypress Hill for life. Night of Hope says, we now live in a world where Little John outlived DMX. Deathwish says Twitter can do whatever they want. Just take away their 230 protections for choosing what to publish. Deathwish says, so far today, I've drank a 750 of tequila and around 4 shots of whiskey, just getting started. Oh, dear Christ. Deathwish says, I'm out of tequila and have to move to Canadian whiskey. Help me, Nikki Rackett. You're my only hope. God, that's a sad day, buddy. Mario Carter 13 says, Attack on Titan ends with a Legal Eagle cameo. I'm a bird now. I'll always be watching over you. I just have one request. Leave the window open when he's blowing your back out, and don't break eye contact with the bird. Promise me. Deathwish says, my state is constitutional carry and I own 6 firearms. But even when I'm unarmed, I can legit manhandle anyone under 200 pounds with ease. I'm not worried about the Civil War. The wood chipper yearns for leftist blood. Rekka Wronghouse says in Kermit voice, YouTube, a soy-filled company that loved to slurp the slime from Monica's rotting ovaries and buy her crusty panties to use the crust as seasoning for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, I am sorry, Nick. You are a great dude. That was disgusting. Really. Thank you. Thank you for that. Malik says, so like when I hover over your like bar, it shows 802/7. But it's shown as 649/7. I don't think YouTube even knows how many likes you have, man. Definitely agree something is fucky. Deathwish says, turkey bowl for movie night. End of Attack on Titan is the worst ending ever, and very few mangas know how to end well. Funny Valentine 2024 says, yo, Nick, hope all is well. Can't catch Flash's stream tomorrow night, so redo season 1, final thoughts / rating, likes, dislikes, etc. / hot rod. Or hashtag hot rod. I love the redo of Healer season 1. I think it's great. I haven't watched the last episode, so I can't rate the whole thing in the entirety. I don't know what to say. I think it's good. There were a couple filler. There's one really bad filler episode. And it's weird for me to say this, but they ham-fisted the nudity into it, and I thought that it was actually inappropriate in that episode. It felt too contrived. Most of the other ones they did it pretty well, but that one's weird. All around, I like it. I don't know that Asian storytelling is going to do what I want them to do with his fetishization of the revenge. I don't know that they're going to make that an interesting character development point that I want them to do, that I would expect from a good Western storytelling method. Asians tell stories very different than Western civilizations do. That's fine. I'm not the biggest fan of how they do it, and I think they're going to fumble that one. So, it's not a 10 out of 10, but it's good. It's good fun. Deathwish says, YouTube didn't show you were live on my main page. Surprise, sir. Wait, no, not a surprise. Malcolm Reynolds says, love the Siege of Terra in the background. 40K or hashtag 30K for life. Are you a loyalist? Oh God. I don't know how should I answer that? Yes. I serve the Emperor of Mankind. However that manifests. I'm reading Penitent right now. It's the sequel to Pariah. I'm almost done with it. It's really good. And I'm just waiting to find out what happens at the end. I'm like 83% of the way through. Icon of Sin says, that's because you literally only watch garbage beginner shit for anime like Redo of Healer. Get into visual novel stories and universes for goodness sake, like Muv Love. Look, stop. No, I'm not even commenting. I'm not even making my all anime is bad storytelling thing. I'm just simply saying there are distinct differences in style of Western and Eastern storytelling. That's not new. That has nothing to do with anime. That has everything to do with Eastern and Western civilizations socially evolving on completely divergent paths. And so the storytelling styles, the way they use mythology, the way they use imagery and metaphor is completely different. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just, I don't think they're going to do what I want them to do with his with his fetishization of revenge because of the storytelling style. It's nothing to do with my criticisms of anime generally. Now do Bollywood. No, thank you. No, thank you. But Polyfrog64 says, be right back. Gonna go pick up my SDI check for racism. Deathwish says, let's watch the likes disappear in real time. Prescient. Tatter says, please stop asking people to subscribe. It's cringe. No. I won't stop asking people to subscribe. Unfortunately, that's how you get people to subscribe. It's just how it works. So, sorry. Mike Hunt says, if a man asks permission to marry one's daughter, it means he is weak and should be refused. Kiwi Goes Live says, rip DMX. MDLG says, I just saw Q show today. Do you know how long it will be before Q can return? If this strike stands and his appeal doesn't go through, 14 days. 14 days. Deathwish says, I love the West Wing and I agree with everything they do in that show until it comes to gun control. Then they're hilariously misguided. Austin Heartless says, if the first restriction was in the 1930s, wouldn't Biden know that from his 120 years served in the Senate? Yes. Chris Mason says, here's my goddamn money, you beautiful lawyer man. Lots of love, Nick. Hey, lots of love back to you, Chris. Taylor Cook says, thanks be to the J.W. Hampton Jr. and Company versus United States decision because Congress actually doing its job is overrated. Amateur Ann says, Nick, what if Twitter is taking government money? Wouldn't that make them liable for BS more easily in court? Nope. It seems like it should, but it's not. If a private entity is 1% private funded and 99% government funded, but is privately owned and operated still, they are still not automatically a state actor. So that's how it goes. They become a state actor when they act at the specific request of the government. Then they become a state actor. Amaranthus says, hail lobster. Dalacourt says, so you're saying Kiwi Farms has cummoned Greer's arch nemesis and then followed up with summoned. I liked cummoned better. Cars in Depth says, who is creepier, Russell Greer or Skippy Jessup? I don't know who Skippy Jessup is, so Russell Greer. The Gray One says, evening, Nick, just got back from work. Today completely sucked and I need a giggle. Also, can Twitter's terms of service exemption fly in the face of the law about CP? It's actually disgusting and I need 40 showers. No, it cannot. Nomad says, you should try to have Louis Rossman on to talk about his right to repair bill. He's expressed the interest to be on pretty much anyone's show to get the word out. Yeah, I will look at reaching out to him. Mikhail Johansson says, can Angry Baneling be held liable for not reaching 1,000 likes today? Yep. Yeah, it's his fault. Frank the Tank 285 says, yeah, The Witcher show is good if you like the fact they destroyed all the characters, world building, and stories they failed miserably to adapt. I don't know anything about The Witcher stories or characters, so I don't even care about that. Won't bother me at all. Billy the Mac says, hey, Nick, you think Scortus thinks this guy is a milk run or an annoyance since he's getting him a bunch of work? He thinks he's an annoyance, I'm guessing. I'm not sure this is a bunch of work for Scortus. It's likely not a ton of work. Yeah, Aspie, there was a big thing with government towns or corporate towns where they act in lieu of the government. And that's the case is Marsh versus Alabama. Marsh versus Alabama was fully overturned, I think, in 2009, maybe it was 99, by Minnesota because of the Mall of America. But it had fallen out of favor a long time ago, mainly because corporate towns didn't really exist anymore. The principles of Marsh versus Alabama could maybe be used, but I think Thomas's opinion on common carriers and places of public accommodation is much more relevant to today and much more likely avenues. So Jackson Kai says, okay, real question. Oh, as opposed to a fake one. I sometimes help at my father's restaurant. The health department is up his ... about staff vaccinations, and he signed me up. Feel extremely pressed and like helping my parents. Is it worth fighting it? I say everybody should listen to the WHO and the CDC recommendations on vaccinations and make an informed decision for their own lives based on those recommendations. Unfortunately, I can't say anything else about YouTube or about it on YouTube than that. So I don't know. If you want to talk to me about it privately, message me somewhere, email me, and I'd be happy to talk to you. My general advice would be that, like, legally speaking, an employer can require you to get the poke. They can do that. So, Ludwig World Order says, did you notice Miss Mena is listed among the defense? She was a lawyer representing one of Russ's multiple harassment victims. Duden2217 says, I'd just like to thank Josh for hiring Scortus. 11 out of 10. Chad moves for the lulls. Also, and thank you, Nick, for bringing the legend of Russ into my life. Oh, you're welcome, Duden. Aspie says, if Russell Greer was covered in green paint, could I use the legal defense of him looking and sounding like a zombie for why I beat the crap out of him? Yes. Oh, guys, I just was listening to one of Lutein's 40K videos, and would you believe it? There's on one of these outworlds, I can't remember what it's called, there's a group of humans that go around in orc face. I'm not even kidding. They even paint their skin green to be in orc face because they like the orcs. It's not a racist thing. They're actually trying to be like the orcs. They're transracial. It's beautiful. Arcadian Twilight says 100 likes, the creator loses, and Biden loses a dislike. Amateur Ant says Bedenis Pervertus gains a kid's like for every dislike YouTube takes from a YouTuber. Ooh, gross. The Digga Knobs, yeah. They're great. So funny. Kuranai 6942 says Ken Paxton makes Bell's policy look good. Rolana 1 says, so would you expect Texas to sue Biden if he issues an executive order regarding further restrictions on guns? Yes. Yes, I would. Amateur Ant says, I'm 4th gen part Hispanic. We need to put alligators in the Rio Grande River, set up cameras, and do pay-per-view. Also says, BLM accomplished more than Al Sharptongue and Jazzy Jankson could have imagined in only a few years. Deathwish is welcome to paralegal status. Thank you. Ulash 1 says, may I suggest buying a nice place in Zolfo Springs, Nick, since you love Florida so much? No, I don't love Florida that much. My parents happen to be there. I don't want to buy a place anywhere. I just bought this place like 2.5 years ago. I'm not really in the mood to, and I just got a hot tub. I'm not really in the mood to move. 200 Watt Studio says Monica is coming to LA Comic Con. No word on if Ron Toye will be accompanying her. Gross. Amateur Ant says, what's the name of that fake church of not Jesus? It's the Buffalo Creek Church, I think, in Waxahachie, Texas. Mario Carter 13 says, church made like an altar boy and took it up the A. Oh my goodness. Edimos says, these soys trying to sue Paxton sound so beta they probably fought with their behemoth girlfriends to be the first to get pegged. Mr. Zeus says, Nick, do you think Derek Chauvin will take the stand? I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't think they would want him to take the stand. 200 Watt Studio says, Nick, the likes were dropping on the Jack Show last night too. Cecil and everybody were pissed. Aureus Rofocal says 35 to 39 is 0.05% chance of dying of the thing. So scary. Polyfrog64 says, early Christians were martyred for the gospel. Sad church. Therefore, brothers and sisters, do not be surprised if the world hates you. Poorly Redacted says, if uncivil law was a furry, would you describe him as curtailed? Yes. Yes. Tina says, you say they can't enter without a warrant, but isn't that what red flag laws circumvent? Well, red flag law is typically a warrant. A warrant is issued on a red flag. So, yes, I guess. It's not really circumvention, though. It's just them fulfilling the requirement. I mean, if they have a red flag order and they show up at your house with a warrant to remove your guns, you have to turn over your guns, basically. Otherwise, you're in violation of the law. So I can't advise you to do anything different. Yvonne says, listen, I'm not telling anyone to do anything illegal, but you can bury future prohibited items in PVC pipes with desiccant packs. Just got to remember coordinates. Nixhex says, please clip your rant, RE, what the church should be. Amateur Ant says, these evil rats want Vic to self-delete. I call them rats because they would turn in their own parents to the woke cult. David Gunther says, I'm a new subscriber. Nightwave Radio plugged you. Your content is great. Hey, thanks. Also, shout out to Mersh. Every time I met him, that guy's been really nice to me. So good job. Good job. Snuggle Struggle says, if Dems can only project the faults of China upon Russia, would actually get the people to go along with their need. China's the threat, not Russia. And that's the chats for the night. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for hanging out. Really appreciate it every single night, by the way, that you guys come out. It makes me feel really good about doing a show. So thanks for that. Snuggle Struggle says, Biden's latest address, gonna fund illegal immigrants, fund them not to come, make IRS go harder on the people, address all but them whites. Well, yep, that's fun. Socialism is for Figs says, did you see Biden executive order that makes a committee on looking into the effects of Supreme Court growth? Yes, and there should be some talk about that coming up very, very soon. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I may have a show this weekend, maybe on Sunday, because I didn't have one on Thursday. We'll see. I'll probably be on Flash's show tomorrow. So I wouldn't look for a show on this channel tomorrow. Goodness gracious, the yawning. But anyway, I will catch you next time. Talk to you soon. Have a good night. Peace. Peace. It's muted. Oh, damn it. Oh, the fucking thing.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some lost-plaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. the wide shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet. There's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed.